Every game has its rules, its rivalries, and its heroes. But sometimes, the most unforgettable moments come from not victory, but from the heart. Just when faith in humanity starts to waver, a player steps up with an act of pure kindness, something so inspiring it reminds us why we fell in love with the game in the first place. Today, we're celebrating moments that prove the power of compassion and remind us how baseball can bring out the best in all of us. Few players dominated the game as Mariano Rivera did, and in his farewell season, he inspired one of baseball's most creative and unforgettable tributes. Every legend deserves a send-off, and few players earn that right more than Mariano Rivera. Widely regarded as the greatest closer in baseball history, Rivera was a nightmare for batters. His signature cut fastball didn't just end games, it ended bats. In 2013, during his farewell season, opposing teams honored Rivera with a series of tributes and gifts. But leave it to the Minnesota Twins to deliver one of the most creative send-offs baseball has ever seen. At Target Field, the Twins presented Rivera with a rocking chair, a retirement staple with a clever twist. Dubbed the Chair of Broken Dreams, it was handcrafted entirely from the shattered remains of bats destroyed by Rivera's devastating cutter. The crowd erupted in laughter and applause, and even Rivera couldn't hide his smile. Even the hardest hitters in baseball couldn't resist the charm of Rivera's farewell. The gesture perfectly captured his dominance on the mound, while adding a touch of humor that made the tribute unforgettable. From celebrating a career to mourning a loss, the Yankees' tribute to their fallen captain, Thurman Munson, was one of profound respect and lasting impact. In the rich history of the New York Yankees, few names evoke as much reverence as Thurman Munson. The Ohio-born catcher wasn't just a star, he was a cornerstone of the team. Munson's accolades speak for themselves: Rookie of the Year, a 1976 MVP, and two-time World Series champion. But his most cherished title was one few Yankees have ever worn: Team Captain. Munson's leadership, grit, and unrelenting determination earned him respect across the league. He wasn't flashy, he let his bat and glove do the talking. But in 1979, the baseball world was shaken by tragedy when Munson lost his life in a plane crash. The loss sent shockwaves through the sport, uniting fans and players alike in grief. The Yankees paid tribute in ways that transcend the game. Munson's iconic number 15 was retired, and his plaque was enshrined in Monument Park alongside legends like Mickey Mantle and Babe Ruth. But the most touching tribute wasn't grand, it was simple. Munson's locker was left untouched, a solemn shrine to the captain who had called it home. When Yankee Stadium was rebuilt years later, the team ensured Munson's locker wasn't left behind. It was carefully moved to the new stadium's museum, where it remains a timeless reminder of his legacy. Our next moment takes us to Atlanta, where one of baseball's most fiery managers received a send-off that brought even his rivals to their feet. Few managers are as synonymous with greatness as Bobby Cox. Over a career spanning nearly 3 decades, Cox led the Atlanta Braves to a 1995 World Series title and built a legacy of consistency, leadership, and respect. Known for his fiery passion and unyielding loyalty to his players, Cox's career culminated in 2010 with a playoff matchup against the San Francisco Giants. The game ended in heartbreak for the Braves as they fell to the Giants, who would go on to win the championship. But the loss was overshadowed by the send-off Cox received. As the Braves left the field, Turner Field erupted in a standing ovation. Braves fans, Giants players, and coaches alike joined in a heartfelt tribute to one of baseball's most beloved managers. For a man who lived and breathed the game, the applause of his rivals was perhaps the greatest honor of all, a moment that proved respect knows no boundaries in baseball. Managers lead teams, but voices lead the fans. Next, we celebrate a man whose voice was as much of a part of baseball as the game itself. It's time for Dodger Baseball. For 67 seasons, those 5 words were the heartbeat of Dodgers games, spoken with the warmth and gravitas only Vin Scully could deliver. When Scully passed away in 2022, the entire baseball world mourned the loss of one of its most beloved figures. Tributes poured in, but none matched the emotional farewell at Dodger Stadium. On that emotional evening, fans gathered to celebrate the man who had been their companion through decades of triumphs and heartbreaks. The tribute began with memorial videos and a moment of silence before Dodgers manager Dave Roberts unveiled a massive "We'll Miss You" banner. With his voice heavy with emotion, Roberts spoke of Scully's unmatched ability to unite fans and connect generations. "Vin made us believe in the magic of baseball," Roberts said, his voice heavy with emotion. Then came the moment that defined the night. Raising his arms, Roberts shouted Scully's iconic phrase, "It's time for Dodger baseball." The crowd erupted, their voices echoing through the stadium in a heartfelt goodbye. Scully once called himself lucky to spend his life in baseball, but that night, it was clear, the world was far luckier to have had him. From this remarkable gesture, we move on to the selfless Roberto Clemente, who wasn't just a great player, but a great human being. And here's how baseball continues to honor his legacy. Roberto Clemente once said, "Anytime you have an opportunity to make a difference in this world and you don't, then you're wasting your time on Earth." He didn't just say these words, he lived by them. At just 38 years old, while delivering aid to earthquake victims in Nicaragua, Clemente tragically lost his life in a plane crash. His passing left an enormous void in the hearts of fans and the baseball community, robbing the world of not just a phenomenal athlete, but a man of extraordinary kindness and generosity. In the wake of his death, the Baseball Hall of Fame made an unprecedented decision. They waived the traditional 5-year waiting period, inducting Clemente immediately in 1973. He became the first player of Latin American and Caribbean descent to be enshrined, paving the way for generations of players to follow. MLB continues to honor Clemente's legacy through the Roberto Clemente Awards, presented annually to a player who exemplifies sportsmanship, community involvement, and dedication to the game. And every year on Roberto Clemente Day, players across the league pay tribute by wearing his iconic number 21. It's a powerful reminder of how one man's compassion and dedication can inspire generations, both on and off the field. Rivalries define sports, but some players rise above them. Our next moment features Derek Jeter, whose final game at Fenway Park turned a battleground into a celebration. Even if you don't know that 3 strikes make an out, chances are you've heard of Derek Jeter. As the New York Yankees captain, Jeter became the face of baseball for 2 decades, embodying leadership, class, and clutch performances. His resume is staggering: 3,465 career hits, countless iconic moments, and 5 World Series titles. Whether it was the flip in 2001 or his fearless dive into the stands against the Red Sox, Jeter's career was defined by his ability to rise to the occasion. So, it was only fitting that Jeter's final regular season game came against the Yankees' fiercest rivals, the Boston Red Sox. On September 28, 2014, at Fenway Park, a venue notorious for hostility towards Yankee players, transformed into a stage of admiration and respect. In his last at-bat, Jeter delivered a signature opposite-field single before being replaced by a pinch runner. As he walked off the field for the final time, the entire stadium, Red Sox fans and players alike, rose in a thunderous standing ovation. Boston's David Ortiz, along with other Red Sox players, lined up to shake Jeter's hand, bridging one of sport's fiercest rivalries with a moment of mutual respect. It was a farewell that transcended competition, reminding everyone of the power of sportsmanship and the enduring legacy of a true icon. But not all iconic moments come from the game itself. Lou Gehrig's farewell speech turned heartbreak into one of the most inspiring moments in sports history. Some speeches are memorable, others transcend time. Lou Gehrig's luckiest man speech belongs to the latter, a moment of courage and grace that remains one of the most iconic in sports history. As a cornerstone of the legendary 1927 Yankees lineup, Gehrig's accomplishments on the field were unmatched. But in 1939, his career was cut short by amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, known as ALS, the devastating disease that would later bear his name. On the 4th of July 1939, the Yankees organized Lou Gehrig Appreciation Day at Yankee Stadium. Gehrig was showered with tributes, trophies, accolades, and heartfelt words from those who knew him best. But it wasn't until Gehrig himself stepped to the microphone that the true gravity of the moment took hold. "Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth," he began, his voice trembling with emotion. Gehrig reflected on the blessings of his life, his family, teammates, and love for the game. Fans openly wept, and even Babe Ruth, his famously stoic teammate, was moved to tears. Gehrig passed away just 2 years later, but his words and courage continue to inspire. Comebacks in baseball are legendary, but Carlos Carrasco's return to the mound after battling leukemia was a victory far beyond the game. In baseball, the mound can feel like the loneliest place in the world. For Carlos Carrasco, returning to it meant facing a challenge far greater than any batter he'd ever encountered. In 2019, the Cleveland pitcher, affectionately known as Cookie, was diagnosed with leukemia. Throughout his treatment, Carrasco remained a visible and inspiring presence. Teammates donned #CookieStrong shirts during warm-ups, and support poured in from across the league. Then came September 1st, 2019, a day that would mark not just a comeback, but a triumph of the human spirit. Carrasco took the mound as a reliever in a game against the Tampa Bay Rays. The opposing players paused to applaud, Cleveland fans roared, and Carrasco's teammates stood on the dugout steps, cheering as if he'd just won the World Series. Though Cleveland lost the game, Carrasco's return was a victory for everyone watching, a testament to courage, perseverance, and the unyielding power of the human spirit. Grief has a way of uniting us all. In the wake of Jose Fernandez's tragic passing, players from rival teams came together to honor his life in a moment of shared humanity. In 2016, baseball lost one of its brightest stars when Miami Marlins ace Jose Fernandez tragically passed away in a boating accident at just 24 years old. On September the 26th, in their first game without him, the Marlins honored Fernandez in a way that left no dry eyes in the stadium. Every player wore his number 16, and the weight of his absence hung heavy over Marlins Park. Then, D. Gordon stepped to the plate. Batting right-handed to honor Fernandez, Gordon switched back to his natural stance after one pitch. On the next, he crushed a towering home run, his first of the season. As he rounded the bases, tears streamed down Gordon's face. He pointed to the sky as his teammates embraced him at the home plate. Gordon later said, "If you don't believe in God, you might as well start." That was Jose's home run. For a moment, grief gave way to healing, and Fernandez's spirit seemed to touch everyone in the stadium. And there you have it, some of the greatest acts of sportsmanship in baseball history. Did we cover your favorite moments, or is there another story that inspired you? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more incredible baseball stories, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.